In today's class, we're going to look at a fat, privileged bitch who constantly spouts racist, hateful rhetoric, finally get called out on her bullshit, and she's a tad bit upset. Now, actually, come to think of it, she's not finally called out. She was consistently called out by Hunter Avalon and James Alsop. So it's like she's gone unchallenged on her racist bullshit. But I just wanted to do a quick response video to this amazing video on which this fat privileged bitch is mad that people are calling her racist when almost all she does is say racist things about white people 24/7 on her pathetic ass channel.
The video we're going to be looking at today is part of a series called Judge of Character, where a racist black chick gets in our face and attempts to lecture us on why white people are the devil.
Actually, that's completely accurate, and you saw by her expression, she's like, oh, I can't believe you would say that about me. How could you not say that about you when you watch just a few of your videos and you'll get a taste of what your channel is like? She acts like, oh my god, that's absurd. How could you possibly call me that? I wouldn't dare do such a thing as that. We'll get into her beliefs, and specifically the racist thing she says later on in the video. But just the feigned absurdity that she is acting is just completely fucking ridiculous.
If a white person made a video like this, it would be considered racist, but this happens.
Your hairstyle is cultural appropriation.
First of all.
This lady is disgusting and racist. I hope this is just satire.
Oh my god, look what they're doing. They're treating me like a black person.
Actually, we're not. And the comments weren't. The comments were completely accurate. What we are doing is calling out your racist bullshit. We're not treating you like a black person. What the fuck does that even mean? If any other person, regardless of skin color, or said what you have been saying on your channel, we would say the exact same fucking thing. Therefore, we're not taking race in the equation whenever we are calling out your racist bullshit. So therefore, by definition, we are not treating you like a black person. What the fuck does it even mean? Like, she acts like, because I'm black, I get this hate. No, it's because what you say, that's why you're getting all this hate.
Wait. Welcome to Judge of Characters, where calling out racism does not make you a racist.
You're not calling out racist. See, this is why she changes the definition of words to fit her narrative, and that's why it makes absolutely no sense. She thinks she's calling out racist. No. Attacking people, like poor white people, who are vastly underprivileged compared to her, and attacking them for existing and wanting to do things and wanting to, like, just existing. If they were just, like, poor white people in Alabama, for example, she has never encountered and will never encounter. Apparently they're the problem. They're the problem with this country, and that's why she attacks them relentlessly. That's not calling out racism. Being racist is not calling out racist. She changes the definition of words. She changes the definition of calling out racist to supporting my hyper, ultra radical liberal agenda. My progressive agenda that I'm espousing constantly on this channel. That's what she calls calling out racist, which in everyone else's normal fucking mind would say calling out racist is looking at specific racist actions done by people and calling them out on it, like I'm doing right now, like Hunter Avalon has done, like James Alsop has done, in how the comments that she showed, how they are doing. But since she changes definition, they are not calling out racist, and she is. When anyone with half a brainstem and knows the actual definition of racist would know that the inverse is true of what she's saying.
To all the racist trolls who've hated me before.
So she categorizes everyone who criticizes her as a racist troll. There is no such thing as legit criticism of her in her eyes. They're all just trolls. Now, the hyper radical left have been doing this for years now. Anita Sarkeesian's done the same thing, where in their radical mind, there is no way you can legitimately critique any idea that they espouse because they are so confident that they are right. They are so radicalized in their viewpoints that there is no way that anyone can say they're incorrect on anything. It has to be racist trolls. It couldn't be that my logic is severely flawed and I'm changing definition of words to mean what they don't. Oh, and I'm a racist bitch. It couldn't be any of that, could it, Danielle Young? No, it has to be trolls. Every single person who doesn't like you is a troll, by definition. Boom. That's such a simplistic way of looking at the world, of looking at your interactions on the internet, by saying that everyone doesn't like you is a troll. Well, I hate to break it to you, but like 98% of the world doesn't like you. Does that mean 98% of the world is trolls? And when you cast such a broad category over people that such a whopping percentage of the world are trolls in your eyes, then what does the word troll mean? It loses its definition. Trolling is a very specific course of actions. Everyone knows what trolling is on the internet. It's very specific. It's not just saying, hey, you're wrong because of XYZ. That's not trolling.
Ooh, child, the comment section.
I've been presenting the best in Black Twitter hot topics for a year now.
More like dragon racist, if you ask me.
Yeah, that too. And I've had it up to here with racist failed logic around racism.
Did you see how much her arm fat jiggled whenever she put her hand up? That's just so disgusting. Anyway, back to her point. Oh, she's had it up to here. She put her hand above her head. She's had it that much with racists calling out her bullshit. Oh, what a poor, oppressed black woman she is.
So it's time to troll the trolls. Since when does calling out racism and demanding change make someone a racist?
You're not calling out racist, therefore this analogy or that sentence makes absolutely no sense. It doesn't apply to the situation at all. Next.
I hate to do the whole college paper thesis statement thing, but let's define racism so that we are all on the same page.
I would love to hear this definition, considering how you twist definitions of everything. I can't wait. I haven't seen this video before. I watched like the first 15 seconds, maybe half minute. I'm like, oh, I have to do a response video. So all this rest of the video I have not seen. So I'm giddy with excitement.
Racism is a belief that race is the primary determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race.
Whoa, what? Whoa, man. That's even different than other social justice warriors' definition that racism is power plus prejudice. This one I have actually never ever seen before. Belief that race is the primary determinant of human traits. What the fuck? That's amazing. See, because normal people have a definition of racism is judging people based on their race, assuming things because of their race, being prejudiced based on race. That is what racism actually means. Belief that race is the primary determinant of human traits. I mean, it is true that race does determine some traits. I guess we're getting the nuances here on whether it's the primary or secondary determinant of human traits, but that has nothing to do with the actual definition. Now, the second half of the definition is correct, that people who are racist have an inherent superiority of their race versus other races. That is true, but the first half of it completely muddles it, and no, woman. Okay, so even as her definition is completely wrong, by her own definition that she has put up, she is in fact a racist. Because she believes in the inherent superiority of black people over white people. In fact, every single other race over white people. She puts whites at the very bottom. She hates white people. She attacks us constantly because of our skin color. And the first one, like, that's going into, like, sociology or genetics or, like, genetic science, like, that's like a scientific question. See, if race is the primary determinant of human traits and capacities. No, because that would mean that most people of the same race act the same way. And you can just use your brainstem for a quick second and think of the people you know that are different races and know that that's not true. Culturally, yes, like, let's say, for example, West Africans, for example. Yeah, there's a stereotype of how they act. Most of them act in a certain way. That not all of them, obviously, but there's, like, the default. That's because of culture, because you can take a black person from East Africa and they act completely different. You can take a black person from America and they act different than the other two. But yet they have all the same genetics. They're all black. Same thing as white people. An American acts completely different than a British person versus a Polish person, yet they're all white. So the fact that you can have all these, but what's different about them? Not genetics, but culture.
Let us not forget that it's also a doctrine, political, and social system.
While it's true that social and political systems can use race in their policies, that doesn't mean that racism in of itself is a social and political a system. Is that what she said?
Political and social system.
Yeah, system. No, it's just a belief that can be misused by social forces and political forces. What the fuck is she on? Well, okay. Look at her eyes. Look at how they're completely fucking off. The pupils are not centered in her eyes. Because she is legit retarded.
Now are we clear?
No, we're really not. That was a curveball with that definition. I had no idea you were going to throw that at me. Fuck, dude.
Racism is so vast, it comes in all kinds of flavors. Institutional, individual, systemic, casual, internalized.
All of them flavors and somehow still so unseasoned.
She just... Okay, see that little jab at white people as the stereotype that white people don't season their food when many of them do. Again, it's a stereotype she's making fun of. She's prejudging someone, looking at a white person and say, oh yeah, they don't season their food, which is not a very hurtful prejudice to have, but she does it right there and doesn't think that it's racist. And by her own definition of these 5 different examples, she is doing individual and casual racism. Casual with these little offside jokes, and then individual because she is doing them themselves, but she doesn't also realize that the United States also is institutionally and systemically racist towards white people. Go look at JF's show with Frame Games about just how deep this racist towards white people is in this country when it comes to hiring and starting a business and being able to keep that business. I mean, it is so systemic. It is amazing that we, quote unquote, live in a white supremacy according to women like this dumb bitch, and yet there are so many institutional and systemic programs and agencies and everything like that that favor non-whites over whites. We must be the shittiest fucking white supremacist state in the history of mankind, considering how we give all of these benefits to non-whites over whites. Like, compare me to this fat bitch, for example. First of all, she must be living such good of a life to be able to eat so much fucking food that she is that fucking fat. How are we oppressing you when you have so much money that you can buy all the food that makes you fat? You have a channel infinitely bigger than me. You have a bigger voice in the political and social realm. You have more money than me because... just look at you. You eat so much fucking food. Like, I remember, like, we can compare each one, like, access to healthcare, income, the type of car, type of place, the type of neighborhood you live in, all these things, and she would beat me the overwhelmingly majority of the time. And she says she's oppressed, and I'm not. I'm favored in her warped view of saying that the U.S. is a white supremacist capitalist patriarchy. I'm favored. I'm privileged over her, yet we can look at all these different categories that you would categorize privilege, and she would beat me the vast majority of the time. But that skin color just trumps everything. Even though there are things like equal opportunity employer, which is ironic because that's not equal at all. It favors non-whites over whites. She could apply for a job and be less qualified than me, and she would still get that job, even though she has vastly more money than me. Like, I would need that job way more than she would, but yet she would still get favored because of her skin color. And you wonder why there's so many poor whites in this country. People assume you're privileged because of your skin color, not knowing that you had to scram to get food on the table and gas in the car to get to your deadbeat job. And these privileged black people who have had everything given to them because people assume, oh, they're black, they've had it hard, let's give them all this crap. They assume that, oh, they need this job more, they need this blah blah XYZ more, so who's going to give it to them? We're going to give them this job even though they're less qualified to meet our quotas. You think there aren't quotas? for hiring? You think there aren't quotas to be able to receive certain benefits from the government if you own a business? Again, check out JF's channel with Friend Games. He illustrates how deep this is, how systemic this is, how institutional this is, the exact characteristics that she's talking about with racism.
I know that addressing racism can make some white people feel attacked, guilty, and angry. Good. You should feel something.
Okay, well, she's saying I should be angry, so I guess I'm angry. And again, you're, for like the millionth time, you're not calling out racism. You're being racist towards white people. When they say, hey, can you cut it out? We're kind of sick and tired of being attacked day in and day out by fat privileged bitches like you for being white. And she's like, oh, you're attacking me because I'm calling out racism.
God knows we do. Now, I know not all white people are racist, but because of America's solid system of racism, many white folks are born with the "let me speak to your manager" hormone.
What the fuck does it even mean? Is she insinuating that only white people say, can I speak to your manager? As a person who works in customer service, I can guarantee you there are plenty of non-white people who do the exact same fucking thing. What is this? She's basing her argument based on stereotypes, like the internet stereotype of the Karen, Becky, and Susan that asked to speak to the manager. And she thinks that's actually reality. No, that's a joke. It's a stereotype. Holy fuck. She acts like no black people have ever asked that, or they haven't been difficult customers and asking for a manager when it's not warranted at all. Are you fucking kidding me?
It's no surprise that these particular racists turn out to be my biggest fans.
Seriously, guys, thanks for the views.
To deny the obvious racism in this country is to deny the truth.
Oh my god, that is so unself-aware. That is fucking amazing she can say that and not realize that that is applying it to herself in her blindness to the privilege and racism that non-whites, the privilege that non-whites have in this country and the racism that they are exerting towards white people, and she just does not see it at all because she's a fat privileged bitch. When far leftists constantly say you can't see your own privilege, they are correct in that. What they're assuming is that only white people have this privilege and only they cannot see their privilege. But yet there are privileged non-whites who cannot see the privilege that they have. Case in point, this bitch, she can't see it. Hunter Avalon or James Alsop or me could sit down with her, and I'm not comparing me to them, of course, because they have much bigger channels than me and much better at making videos. I'm just saying because there's two people that call out the root constantly, and it's hilarious. We could sit down in a room with her and we could go through the most logical, calm argument. I wouldn't curse and yell like I do in my videos, and she just would not see it because she has been such brainwashed by her ideology in such privilege, such a long amount of time, she can't see her privilege.
America is built on the legacy of legally granting rights and privileges to white people.
This picture is in black and white. It is more than half a century old. You're pointing to this as an example of institutional racism in favor of whites? Are you fucking retarded? You can point to affirmative action and equal opportunity employers, which would be a color picture because it's still happening to this day, as an example of institutional racism in favor of non-whites. Look at it, look at this. Isn't that amazing? She has to go back to a black and white photograph to point to an example of institutional racism in favor of whites. Newsflash, this is not the fucking 20s. Holy fucking shit. Are you stuck in the past or what? This has been over far longer than you have ever lived. Far longer than our parents have lived, far longer than most of our grandparents have lived. This has been over for such a long amount of fucking time.
But denying those same rights and privileges to all other races, especially black people.
Yes, that is true. In the past, that has happened. No one is denying that. No one is trying to rewrite history or cover up the racist past of this country. No one is doing that. But you know what is happening? You're trying to cover up the racist present-day actions that are favoring non-whites. That's what you're trying to do.
And while black people have progressed in a country that was designed to keep us from doing just that, racism is still alive and thriving.
I agree, as exemplified by you in your channel. We're halfway through this video, but I'm just going to end up repeating myself. You can let's just finish up with some of her beliefs, because she hasn't really said that much about her own beliefs. But she believes in Black Lives Matter, which support an apartheid system that put blacks at the top and non-whites below them, and then whites at the bottom. What do you mean by apartheid system? That's bullshit. That's just conspiracy talk, Robert. What the hell are you talking about? Well, when they advocate for forgiving black people of crimes in order to lower the statistics of blacks being convicted of those crimes, like, they are so mad that the black murder rate is 50%, that blacks commit 50% of the murders, so they just want us to let black people go and not charge them, not hold them in jail, so then the number will go down in proportion, so then all of the murder rates for all the races will be the same. You don't believe me? Look it fucking up. No, don't go to CNN. Don't go to MSNBC. Don't go to the mainstream media for that breakdown of the ideology of Black Lives Matter, because they will not say that. Why? Because it makes them look bad. It makes them look like the racist terrorists that they are. The media would never say that. Just do a Google search. Black Lives Matter demands. Black Lives Matter charter. Black Lives Matter ideology. It takes 2 seconds. There is no reason why you should not believe that Black Lives Matter wants an apartheid system in this country with black people at the top and white people at the bottom. She believes in, like I mentioned before, she believes in institutional and systemic racism against whites. And 2 policies right off the top of my head that I can look at is equal opportunity employer and affirmative action. 2 policies right off the bat that institutionally and systemically give privileges to non-white people over white people. She supports that full-heartedly. She constantly attacks white people for simply wanting to exist and not be attacked. When whites say, "Don't attack me," she says, "That's racist. You should sit down, shut up, and let us attack you relentlessly because you're a bunch of racist white people." That's what she believes. Look at her videos. It's really easy. This video is already kind of long. I'm not going to go into each one of her videos and point out every single thing that she said as racist, because I've already done that a couple of times already, and you can do it for yourself, or watch James Alsop and Hunter Avalone point out they have much bigger channels, much bigger audiences, and they do it much better than me. Watch them do it, and you will see how much of a horrible, despicable human being she is. And she is so mad that people are calling her out on it. She's trying to maintain a narrative as she is calling out racism and not being a horrible racist herself. And that's the point of this video. Am I racist? Question mark? Fuck yeah, you are. What is this woman talking about?